everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. And as I'm looking at the news, holy man, am I having flashbacks from my childhood. When I was a young lad growing up, didn't know damn squat about nothing. But I always saw the stuff on TV going, oh my, I think that might be bad. I didn't know any better, but it was. And everything is back from my childhood right now. It's just, the parallels are uncanny. And so that's what we're just as we look at the news today, that's what we're going to see. No matter how old you are, if you're young, you might get a history lesson. If you're new, you'd be like, oh, we made it through this? Really? Did we get through this? I mean, it's not all that bad yet, but we have a feckless president that's just making everything worse. Anyway, we'll talk about that after I play the intro. Play the intro, Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. All right, let's stop that music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, the one and only Dawg Knight, Marty, whatever you want to call me. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. And let me check something really quick here. It does work. Okay, I had to make sure because I have so many cords here right now. I didn't know which one to click in. Anyway, welcome to the show. It is Thursday, the 13th of May, 2021. I'm going to make sure I get that right. I don't want to have another day where I call for hump day. And it's not hump day. It is definitely not hump day. It's post hump day. It's the day after when you sneak out of bed and make your way home. Anyway, the theme today, obviously everything old is new again, because God, I went to get gas yesterday. Now, the thing is, here where I live, the gas prices haven't gone up necessarily as much as they have in other parts of the country, but it's gone up. And when you have a truck that has a 33-gallon gas tank, you tend to notice these things. It's a small, just every increment when you go on. When you were paying, maybe $50, $45 to fill your tank, and now you're paying $70 to fill your tank. You just notice these things, like, damn, here we go again. And then you go to the grocery store and, I saw, it was at one of the stores, and granted, if you go to the superstores or whatever, it's cheaper, but I went to a store and I went walking by the meat counter, okay, or, and stuff. And I was like, is that really $17 a pound for a ribeye steak? I'm like, damn, what is that? My God, yeah, FTG gas prices, damn right, MC. It's crazy. And then you look out and you look on the TV and there's basically a war going on in the Middle East. Oh, that's very 70s. And then you got. And then you get the inflation report. It's like, oh my God, I'm telling you. And honestly, a lot of people want to compare this feckless president to a former feckless president, Jimmy Carter. Well, a former president said that's an unfair comparison to Jimmy Carter. Anyway, we're going to get into that. First, I got to say good morning like I always do. Hello, everybody. Here we go. Now, I did have some issues with the stream earlier today because You know, when you the little thing on here in the studio says, "Oh, your bit rate is not correct," and so you back out of Streamlabs and you change your bit rate, and you used to be able to just do that real quick, pop right back into the same stream. Well, they changed something, and you can't do it anymore. So for those of you who were here early, I apologize. So I am going to honor the first in the chat who was here first the first time. And that would be Avocados Diable. Thank you for being here. You get the bell, my friend. I see you. And also, good morning to my favorite Canadian Jaeger pony, Jonathan Peterson, Ronan Wolf. Uh-oh, wait a minute. There we go. Just I got a shout out for the truckers. Also, good morning, Willett Forge. Good morning, Maddie, who's with Ronan, so I already did the horn thing. Good morning, Gunfox61. Also, CNN sucks. Nice to see you back, my brother. I've been wondering where you've been, but you know, I know sometimes one of my best benefactors to growing this channel also sometimes streams at the same time as me. So I know how that works. It's all good. Also, good morning to Rye Dales. Good morning, Dr. Keeve. Hello, Assassin the Gray, who popped linked the show across the Discords. Thank you so much. By the way, please look at the pinned tweet. Did I say tweet? Oh, I almost said treat, and I thought I said it, and then I didn't. The pinned tweet. It's not even a tweet. The pinned chat in the chat. Share the stream out. That really helps. Also, good morning, Hammer Time MC is in the house. Hammer Time. Also, good morning, Mike Savage. Good morning, Blarg. Oh, I almost forgot to say Blarg. Also, hey, Rusty Shaq. Nice to see you. Who says the wiped army must rise up and overthrow the wasted tissue. I'm not. Well, I mean, I kind of know what that means, but, you know, I'm figuring it out. Also, I'll just keep going. Hello, Sean DW. Hello, Ost San, Atheist Icon. Did I miss? Oh, it's jumped. Did I miss anybody when it jumped? I don't think so. I think I'm all good. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. So anyway, during the show, if you like what we do, make sure you hit the like button. That always helps. And also sharing the stream is key. If you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, you can do that through the Streamlabs Super Chats and the Streamlabs Super Chat, which is in the description down below. It'll pop up in the chat also. And then YouTube Super Chats are good too. And there you go. And if you don't know what to say, write an ad, but I will read what you say. I may take some editorial license. Well, should I say editorial license? I'm not going to edit what you say, but I might have to use creativity depending on what it is, because I don't want to get banned from this platform, and so on and so forth. All right. As I opened, well, I'm going to do the quick news first. Then I got a couple hours I want to read a little more thoroughly, and then we'll wrap. In the immortal words of Anthony Brian Logan, we'll wrap it up tie it up in a bow and something. Whatever he does this stuff, and you know that. Anyway, but I'm not going to give you my what does he say? Something detailed analysis. Nah, I'm just going to talk shit about things. So. If it's past, if past is prologue, there will be a hostage crisis next. Oh, yes! Avocados Diable, you are so correct. It's going to be something to do, well, or just an Iran crisis, which, hey, it's already brewing. I'm just telling you, you'll notice in the news today, there's already going to be a showdown, and I'm going to... Foreshadowing. Yes, that is called foreshadowing. All right, let's get to just the quick things here. Why is this new? Okay, this is news because they want it news. I'm going to move that back. We'll just touch on that one later. I don't want to start with that. Let's go with the gas issue. The gasoline. People are talking about gas prices. Now granted, this is not, okay, let's just put the article on the screen. Gas prices hit $3 a gallon on average across the country for the first time in nearly 7 years amid Colonial Pipeline saga. 7 years. 7 years. Yeah, that was BT before Trump. as the nation grapples with an unprecedented cybersecurity attack on a major East Coast fuel pipeline, the national gas price average hit $3 a gallon for the first time in 7 years. The national average price on regular gasoline is still slightly over $3 a gallon on Wednesday, according to data from American Automobile, the American AAA. I was going to say the American Automobiles Association. Last time average prices were at these levels was November 2004. Now, I needed to differentiate the reasons that the prices are gone up, right? There's a couple. One, we have a president who decides that maybe we shouldn't be using certain pipelines and whatnot. That, and also then this cyber attack of this pipeline that we had recently, and it makes you go, why is this happening now? Is it, I'm not going to go conspiracy on you, but I'm just saying it versus the 70s when there was a major supply issue. And basically the Eastern countries that supplied decided they weren't going to pump more oil, and then whatever. So they're different. And then also just the inflation during the 70s was terrible. And oh, wait, the inflation's terrible now too. Anyway, and the gas, and actually gas prices is, one of the big factors in the inflation numbers. But, and then just the fact that nobody's wants to work. But that's, okay. Gas prices will not drop, however. Pipeline is up again. Oh, yes, that was my next thing. But here, so anyway, on that note, so then there's a Breitbart article on day 5. Team Biden can't say when the gasoline crisis will end. White House struggled Wednesday to respond to the gas shortage on the East Coast. Now, most of the problem is on the East Coast. So where I live, like I said, it hasn't gone up that much. Although yesterday I was paid $2.79 a gallon. When not just a week ago, I was paying $2.49 a gallon, and a couple weeks before that, I was paying $2.19 a gallon. Or not $2.19, excuse me. Yeah, $2.19 a gallon. So it's gone up significantly even where I live, and we have a refinery, like literally 5 miles from my house or something. It's a little farther than that, but and we haven't had any supply problems here in Minnesota. But that pipeline basically feeds the entire East Coast. It's crazy. You'll see a picture here in a second. So, but anyway, President Joe Biden's cabinet officials hesitated when asked when the shortage would end, punting timeline questions to Colonial, the private company in charge of the pipeline. Oh, because, that's not infrastructure. You don't need things working, anyway. Pete, oh God, I almost called him Pete butt plug, but it's Pete Buttigieg, because I saw someone call him that, and it popped into my head. I don't, usually say that kind of shit. I'll defer announcements from the company on their process, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said at the White House press conference daily press briefing. I mangled that. Buttigieg declined to confirm assertions from Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm Tuesday that the pipeline would be restored at the end of the week. So they didn't know, but then yesterday the pipeline was back up, I think starting around 5 o'clock. Now, this is a good example, though, what this pipeline supplies. You can see this map here. Look, it goes from Houston, and this pipeline ends all the way up in New Jersey. So all these states, Louisiana, Mississippi. Well, Louisiana doesn't have issues because they have the oil there too, but supplying up from Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Maryland, Virginia, whatever that is. Oh, that's Maryland, Virginia, Maryland, and all the way up into New Jersey, supplying the states, Pennsylvania, and New York also. So, they have a gas problem and their, pipeline problem. It's messing people up. And so if you know that if you can see this, I don't know if you can see this on the screen very well, but there's this green part was where the pipeline was. Oh, this is where the lines go. Anyway, let's just read the article. Colonial, this was updated Thursday, May 13th at 8:50 a.m. Colonial Pipeline has made substantial progress in safety restarting our pipeline system and can report that product delivery has commenced in a majority of the markets we service. By midday today, we project that each market we service will be receiving product from our system. The green segments on this map are operational, meaning the product delivery has commenced. Blue lines will be operational later today. This would not have been possible without the commitment and dedication of the many Colonial team members across the pipeline who worked safely and tirelessly safely through. Oh, wow, that's a little. Listen to this. This sentence they wrote. Again, team members across the pipeline who worked safely and tirelessly safely through the night to get our lines up and running. We are grateful for their dedicated service and professionalism and during this extraordinary time. So the pipeline is back online functioning. They've got most of it operational. In fact, it says right here, the green here says it's operational already, and then the blue operational by 12 p.m. Eastern time. So by yesterday afternoon, they had it flowing again. You might think perhaps it will, I see someone say the gas prices aren't going to go down after this. They might come down a little bit once they get the complete flow going. But on the East Coast, there's still a bunch of gas lines yesterday. In fact, even here, it's funny because I went to go get gas yesterday. We had a line. The gas. I got there before the line really got bad. But when I was leaving after filling my tank, I did deal with a pretty long line, or saw a pretty long line outside the, around the Sam's Club where I get gas. And it was all the way out to the parking lot and into the road. I'm like, holy shit, people are panic buying gas. Remember when you couldn't find toilet paper? Well, guess what? That's how it works. Everyone panic buys and then you can't find any. So anyway, was there a mention there? Someone said something, please stop panic buying gas. Oh, that was Colonial. So let's see. So this cyber incident and operational response they put up on this Colonial, it's cpcyberresponse.com. They put up a special website to give you information about their system and their response. Anyway, so just a reminder too, everything you see on the show today that I put up on the screen will be listed in a one-tab link in the description down below. Immediately after show, I will pop that up when the show's over. So if there's anything you want to go back and see, it will be there for you. Real quick, good morning, Jesse Leon. How you doing? Also, good morning to Why Are You So Angry? That's not a question, but a name. Also, I think Attack Alpaca, you were here already, and or maybe you weren't, but good morning anyway. Also, Tag, okay, Texas AG. Is that what it is? Texas AG. Oh, Texas AG 007. Thank you. Thank you for finally giving me a little phonetic action on that, because that was always confusing me, how you wanted me to pronounce that. So welcome to you. Also, Don Keatic, what's happening? And if I miss anybody, well, I have. I'll try to make sure I catch you during the show and say hi. Let's see, how are we doing here? Oh, so we got more people here. It's 26 people. It's growing. And share the stream out. Get some people here, y'all. All right, let's move on. And other 70s news. Inflation spikes as consumer prices soar by 4.2% in April. Gosh, I don't know what year this is. Is this 1977? This is nonsense. Oh, Alone's in the house too. I filled my tank this past weekend. I'm so good. So I'm good till the end of May. Yeah, I wish I was. I have to fill my tank at least once every, probably every 5 days I have to fill my tank because I use my car quite a bit. Oh, and Guess what? We have our first sponsor of the day. Thank you, GunFox61 and GunFox.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Who says, the pipeline was... Hang on a second. Let me get back. I'm going to make sure I can do this properly. The pipeline was hacked. And Keystone Pipeline canceled a month or two ago, and the Democrats and the scam change pushing electric cars. Higher gas prices to force people to buy electric vehicles. That makes you think, Yes, and thank you, GunFox61, for sponsoring the show. If you'd like to sponsor the show, you know how. It tells you right there in the chat, I think. Is it the bot? Oh my God, here we go. I'm gonna hear about that other bot. Charlie, how you doing? Why are people hoarding gas? It's ridiculous. It is, and it just exacerbates the problem. It's like, because in fact, it's funny because I saw this guy, and look, in Minnesota, we don't have a pipeline problem. There is no supply problem in our state. There's not a single gas station where I live had a shortage of gasoline, and yet I see lines in the gas stations, people with 5-gallon gas cans filling those up too, and it's like, hey, moron, we have plenty of gas. It was like, the truck's right there filling the place again because people are losing their damn minds. So good point, Charlie. Hey, by the way, good morning, Charlie. Hey, nice to see you back. So anyway, back to this inflation article. Inflation spikes as consumer prices soar by 4.2% in April. The consumer price index climbed in April by 4.2% as the economy begins to open up, causing the demand for supply. So that is part of the reason now that the people are starting to leave their homes, and whether they are masked or maskless, you're going to see more demand for things, and that causes a supply problem. Anyway, it's the biggest 12-month increase since 2008. 2008. That was, yeah. Anyway, the CPI measures a basket of goods as well as energy and housing costs. In other words, it encompasses everything, all goods. Excuse me. From the Wall Street Journal, the Labor Department reported its consumer price index jumped 4.2% in April from a year earlier, up from 2.6% for the year ended in March. Consumer prices increased a seasonally adjusted 0.8% In April from March. The index measures what consumers pay for goods and services, including clothes, groceries, restaurant meals, recreation activities, and vehicles. Higher prices for used autos surged 10% in April compared with a prior month, the largest monthly increase on record. That accounted for more than a third of the increase, the Labor Department said, which kind of surprises me. Maybe not. The demand for used cars is increased, and so that's part of it. The core price index, which does not include food and energy, climbed 3% compared to a year ago. Other stats: food prices 2.4%, restaurant meals away from home 3.8%, car and truck rentals 82%. Ooh, shit. We're gonna take a vacation and rent a car in the summer. That's gonna be weird. 82%, damn. Anyway, and airfare 9.6%. Now, all those things, interestingly enough, have risen during the pandemic, and probably because they're raising prices to cover their asses because they've been beaten up for a year. And never mind, I'm not gonna say it. Prices were going to change from a year ago. Because of the pandemic, prices only rose 2.2% from April 2 years ago. Okay, anyway, so if you want to read more on that, it's in this illegal insurrection article that will be in the tabs. Now, just another quick news that I'll get through, and we'll kind of get to the theme today. The attorneys for 3 former Minneapolis police officers awaiting trial in George Floyd's death will be in court Thursday to argue pretrial motions, including a request that prosecutors be sanctioned after media reports that Derek Chauvin had planned to plead guilty a year ago, and allegations that they haven't disclosed information about the alleged coercion of a witness. Didn't know about that. Attorneys for Thomas Lane, Jay King, and Tao To. I can't remember how to say his name. I used to know how to pronounce, because there's a lot of Laotian people in the Twin Cities, so but I haven't talked to any lately, and I always have to ask. Have said they want the court to require prosecuting attorneys to submit affidavits under oath that they aren't responsible for the leak to the media. In a filing late Wednesday, Tao's attorney, it's Tao. See, that just rolled right off my tongue that time. It's the first name. It's Tu Tao. That's how his name is pronounced. Also alleged that the Hennepin County medical examiner was coerced to include neck compression in his findings, and that prosecutors knew of it. Wow, I did not hear this. Anyway, the former officers waived their right to appeal at Thursday's hearing. Their trial is set for August 23rd. Now, Attorney General Keith Ellison, whose office is prosecuting the officers, has said the allegations that his office was involved in a leak are false. Well, would you admit it if they happened? Anyway, his office had no immediate comment on the allegations of coercion. A spokesman for Dr. Andrew Baker, the medical examiner, said they could not comment due to the pending case. So anyway, and these guys, I think I have other news. These guys, they've also been charged in federal court. And again, this is the pound of flesh. These are the pound of flesh trials. They want their pound of flesh, and so these guys are the goats from above the scape. Now, a Biden labor ally is headed to prison. Ex-UAW president sentenced to 21 months for corruption. Oh my gosh, a corrupt union boss? Never heard of such a thing. The former president of one of President Joe Biden's closest union allies is heading to jail in connection with a multi-million-dollar corruption scheme. Shocker. Dennis Williams, who served as the president of the International United Auto Workers Union for 4 years, was sentenced to 21 months in prison. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Michigan announced Tuesday Williams was convicted of conspiring with at least 6 other union officials to embezzle funds from union members. A federal corruption probe found that Williams had also used union funds to pay for his personal expenses. We always have questions about our union leaders, and I am a member of a union, and so I'm going to shut up because, horse heads and shit. Moving on. Well, what a timely donation. GodFox61, thank you. Another Deuce and a 23 who says, Marty, scam equals climate, and last year's gas prices were below $2 a gallon. Also, Whitler of Michigan is trying to shut down the pipeline. Yeah, I see an FTG coming. Yeah, FTG, Gretchen Whitler. Also, FTG Wolf, Pedo Joe, Twitter for promoting cheese pizza. It's not food. One and you too. The sentence got cut off there, but yeah, you heard about that too? Gretchen Whitler, trying to what's she doing? She's threatening to close a pipeline in Michigan now because you know what? She just felt left out that the pipeline in New York wasn't working because she tends to just follow everything that happens in New York. So anyway, thank you again, GodFox61, and the audience thanks you also for sponsoring the show. The sponsors of the show help keep the show going, and thank you. All right, Kamala Harris is also in the news because, well, first of all, if you hadn't noticed, because when's the last time you saw Kamala Harris say anything? like she's really in the news talking or whatever. Well, if you haven't, if it's been a while in your mind, by the way, Gunfox, you are already the Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day. You're up to 723. I appreciate that. Gretchen Whitler. Oh, I'll check out that. Oh, thank you. Check out Discord for what cheese pizza means. Okay, we'll have to check that out. Oh no. I know what that means. No, good Lord. Is there, okay, I'm going to have to go, I'll look at the story, but anyway. All right, Kamala Harris. Well, she's gone 50 days without a news conference since she's been tapped to lead the border crisis. Remember Joe put her in charge of the border? Remember that? And then I would expect that you would have pictures of her touring border welcome facilities. And maybe the wall that they decided to continue the completing the construction, and you'd think you'd see pictures of her along the border and having conferences saying, here's where we're at and this is what we're doing, and we've got this going and this going, and we're gonna fix this and we're gonna stop that, and we're gonna help these people and make sure these people who have COVID are isolated instead of just letting them off into the country. Anyway, well, Biden announced in March that Harris would lead the administration's effort to address the issue, and oh gosh, oh shoot, where's my thing? Do not clip what I just said. Good morning, Cannon Hotep. How you doing? So Vice President Harris is still being criticized over handling the border crisis. What? Wait a minute. Tell me, y'all in the chat, and I'll continue while you're answering, but tell me what's wrong with that first sentence, and I will repeat it. Vice President Kamala Harris is still being criticized over her handling of the border crisis, but now the criticism seems to be spreading across the aisles. Tell me what's wrong with that sentence, and I will continue as you are writing or typing, or, well, obviously be typing. The Los Angeles Times published a report Wednesday that blamed Republicans for mischievous partisanship, but pointed out there's a growing calls among nonpartisan policy experts as well as some Democrats that she should visit the border, because she hasn't even visited the border yet. How long's it been? When was this? In March. 50 days, and she still hasn't even been to the border, which apparently she's in charge of fixing that problem, right? Anyway, Representative Henry Keller, Democrat, Texas, told the paper that Harris is, quote, playing it, in my opinion, very safe by not dealing with the border, end quote. Well, yeah, she's not doing diddly. Harris is, now, and this is Fox News talking about how Republicans, at least they didn't say Republicans pounce or Republicans seized. So anyway, she's getting criticized, right? And in fact, she's being urged to dump the absolutely abysmal Harris as the border czar, and a poll agrees. Vice President, this is from the Washington Examiner, Vice President Kamala Harris's lack of action on the border has prompted a call for President Joe Biden to dump her as his border czar. Desert Tramp, how you doing? Welcome to the show. I don't recognize the name, so hey, you need to, if you're not, oh, by the way, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, click the bell. Her response to the border crisis has been absolutely abysmal, so I am requesting that she be replaced as your border czar. Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich wrote in a letter to Biden, and I'll show you that letter in a second. But a YouGov poll here shows, do Americans have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Vice President Kamala Harris? 41% of U.S. adults have an unfavorable opinion. Now, we know that's just because she's a black, Asian woman of color with she, her pronouns. That's the only reason. That's it. There's no other reason why you would have an unfavorable opinion of Kamala Harris, except for the fact that she's a black Asian woman of color who uses she, her pronouns. I guarantee that's your only reason, bigots. And 48% have an unfavorable opinion. Now, okay, it's the bigots. Democrats like her. Oh, wait a minute. Even 19% of Democrats have an unfavorable opinion of her. But those are the racists in the party. Independents, 57% have an unfavorable opinion. And then Republicans, well, of course, the racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, bigots who hate babies, 84% have a unfavorable rating of Kamala Harris. So now here's the letter, though. This is it's a letter addressed to President Joe Biden from the Office of the Attorney General of the state of Arizona. Dear President Biden, the crisis at our southern border has been escalating since January and now is clearly a catastrophe and a tragedy in the making. Like many Americans, I was encouraged by your March 24th appointment of Vice President Kamala Harris. Hold it. Wait a minute. Why? Why were you encouraged? Oh, because maybe someone would do something, and, Kamala Harris has a very lengthy track record of doing great things for minorities in California. Bullshit. Anyway. Encouraged by your Vice President to lead the efforts to stem the tidal wave of illegal immigration in our country. They says illegal migration. Okay, whatever. However, to date, her response to the border crisis has been absolutely abysmal. And so I am requesting that she be replaced as your, quote, border czar, end quote. We are now nearly 50 days into her appointment, and Vice President Harris has shown little interest in observing what is happening along the border and has failed to articulate any plan to deal with the devastating effects of this crisis. Instead, she has traveled to other states for unrelated, less pressing matters. Mr. President, this is a slap in the face to Arizonans who helped elect you both to the highest office in the land. If you know why I did that. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back. Did anyone answer my question? What was wrong with that sentence? Handling. Yes. Avocados Diablo. You got a Diablo. You got it. The problem with that sentence in the Fox News article, the very first sentence, Vice President is still being criticized over her handling. She ain't handling shit. Although she did handle Willie Brown. Oh my God, did I say that out loud? I always laugh when Jericho Green says, she got horizontal to make her career go vertical. That's just wrong. Anyway, back to the letter. The truth is, and the X to doubt was, that didn't work. What happened to my X to doubt? Well, it stopped working. There it is. That was because the slap in the face to Arizonans who helped elect you both to the highest office in the land. We'll see how that recount goes. Anyway, the truth is that our border officials are overwhelmed, law enforcement is understaffed, and local ranchers live in daily fear from cartel operatives. It is shameful that they are not receiving more federal support. The latest apprehension numbers from April show that apprehension numbers? Oh, I didn't know there were apprehension numbers. Anyway, show that things are getting worse, and we do not yet know the full extent of dangerous people and drugs crossing into our communities. I sent Vice President Harris a letter on April 2nd, personally inviting her to tour the border with me and to hear from the brave citizens on the ground. To date, I am very, very disappointed that I have not received a response from Vice President Harris or anyone in your administration. Mr. President, we cannot afford another day, week, or month of apathy and inaction by any official in your administration charged with upholding our federal immigration laws and ensuring public safety. What is occurring now at the border and in our communities is reckless and dangerous to Arizonans, to migrants, and to the security of our great nation. I am conclude by respectfully requesting that Vice President Harris be replaced as America's border czar with a federal official who is willing to see the crisis firsthand and to work with state partners to address it. I also request that your administration adopt new border policies that facilitate enhanced transparency with the members of Congress, the media, and the American people throughout this crisis. I remain committed to working with anyone in your administration to secure the border and enforce the rule of law. Mark Brnovich as our Arizona Attorney General. You tell him, bruh. Right? Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's talk. I haven't spent a whole lot of time on the whole Israel, the seemingly turning into war in the Middle East. The Palestinians and Israel's clashing, rockets flying. I'm going to say this again. Did we have like a peaceful period there at one point? Like there weren't a whole bunch of that shit going back and forth, and they were, negotiating and all that and talking and, when was the last time you saw a major barrage of rockets going into Israel and then Israel retaliating, the cycle continuing? I know there was a time period that's just seemed to pause, kind of like when, when Biden calls, what does he call it when he takes a nap for the rest of the day? Anyway, but there was a quiet period, and I tried to figure out what that correlated with. There was something where, it almost seemed like they would have, and all these, countries in the Middle East were starting to do these agreements with Israel to, have normal relations. And I don't know what that was. It's just on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, thank you, GunFox61 with the tray, who says Harris needs to go to the HB Karen school along with with AOC and all the Karens that get into people's faces over not wearing a mask. HB, use the spike whip. They need a harder schooling. Thank you, GunFox61. I appreciate your continued sponsorship of the show. Willie, yeah, put a lid on it. Yeah, they put a lid on it. They had a lid. There was a lid on all the back and forth, violence and yada, yada. And all of a sudden, what changed? We had such a calm period, and I don't know what the correlate. There was happening. Oh, wait a minute. When did this stuff start happening? Immediately after we got a new administration. Oh, I get it. Nobody's afraid of Joe Biden. Anyway, good morning, Drew W. and Willie. How you doing? So, more than 200 rockets fired at civilian targets in one night, but it is the Israelis who are wrong. Got it, Scribe Light. Yeah. Well, and by the way, we saw that article yesterday that, because now the big things, I saw someone tweeting about, oh my gosh, the Israelis are killing children. They murdered children. And then we find out yesterday that one of the things that killed Palestinians and children was one of their rockets that went astray, and it killed 12 children. So, look, there's a narrative to be had among a certain factor, and my dog in this fight is the one country that tries to at least to allow things to be normal in the country, and that would be the Israeli side. And I know they got to figure out what they're going to do about. They got to figure out a way to have peace, but there's not going to be peace if the people who are most influential on those countries, the United States, don't want to do anything about it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yes, they did sign a treaty under Donny Boy. Yes, they did, and that's You caught on to what I was saying there, didn't you? Yes, there was peace for quite a while. Remember, not a rocket fluke, but then because the last time this happened was what, 2014, when there was really big problems back and forth. But then this period of calm for so long, and then all of a sudden, bam, new president. Anyway, now apparently one of the Palestinian leaders say Iran funded and armed his group for a war with Israel. Just days before Palestinian terror groups began bombarding Israel with rocket attacks, a leader of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad said the group's funding and weapons are being provided by Iran. Ramez El-Halabi, a PIJ official, disclosed his group's deep ties to the Islamic regime in a May 7th interview on Iraqi television just prior to the bombardment of Israel, part of a deepening conflict that threatens to throw the region into a larger war. The Mujahideen terrorists in Gaza and in Lebanon use Iranian weapons to strike the Zionists. That's what this is a quote anyway. This is a quote. We buy our weapons with Iranian money. It's an important part of our activity is under the supervision of Iranian experts, El-Halabi said. The contours of the victories in Palestine as of late were outlined with the blood of former Iranian military leader Qasem Soleimani. Iranian blood. His remarks were translated by the Middle East Media Research Institute, which tracks jihadist activity. So that's not good. Is this a proxy war, possibly? Is this going to turn into a proxy war? And this is I don't want to say the Empire strike, the Iranian strike back in a way that it's bait in some ways, but damn, and it's, it kind of fulfills their goals to destroy Israel too. So and who gets condemned? It's never it's like in a basketball game, right? When in the basketball fight, some guy punches somebody and he punches back, and then the referee only sees the guys who punches back. When the guy who threw the first punch, kind of gets away with it, or at least doesn't get condemned, and kind of what happens here every time. So anyway, and who says you have to have an equal, a proportionate reaction? I don't. Someone punches you, knock their ass out. And maybe, I don't know. That could get me in trouble with YouTube. Oh, speaking of getting in trouble with YouTube, Canon Hotep got a content strike on his channel. That sucks. I don't know, but he's still able to upload. But in fact, in the tabs today, I have his latest video on Rumble, and he's talking about the coof, the stupid 19, and the stabs and things like that, because one of Dr. Fauci's former fellow doctors at the NIH isn't a real fan of how the stab process came about. So go check him out. It'll be in the links down below after the show. All right, let's move on. And now President Biden is being pressed to cancel talks with Iran as the Tehran-backed terrorists attack Israel. The Biden administration is facing new pressure from Congress to immediately end its negotiations with Iran in the wake of continued missile attacks on Israel by Tehran-armed and funded terrorist groups. And they admitted it, right? They admitted it. They said it, like, on TV. More than 40 Republican senators, led by Marco Rubio, petitioned the White House. Sorry, I didn't mean to pause there. Just every time I see his name. Petitioned the White House late Wednesday to immediately end negotiations with Iran and make clear that sanctions relief will not be provided, according to a copy of that letter exclusively obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. The United States must not do anything to enrich Israelis' enemies, such as by offering sanction relief to a regime that seeks to destroy Israel. Because Biden, again, is playing with the idea of, I don't know, paying them off. That's not an official statement by the Morning Night Live, just an opinion, but it seems they're always their solution. Well, let's just give them money. And that's stupid, right? Thank you, GunFox61 with the Quattro in Streamlabs Super Chat, who says, here's GunFox solution for the Middle East. Again, before I read it, I'm not going to say that yet. We'll see what it says, and then I'll decide if never mind. If the chats of the Morning Night Live represent the views of the Morning Night Live. They kind of do, though. I tend to agree with GunFox most of the time, and and sometimes it's hyperbolic, but that's okay because I love hyperbole. GunFox has a solution for the Middle East. I can fix the Middle East very quickly. In less than 30 minutes, it will be over in a flash. I haven't read the rest of this yet. No more worries about terrorists or people leaving. I'll make the most amount of glass very quickly. It's a win-win. Plus all those jobs cutting the glass. The views of the people who do Super Chats at the Morning Night Live do not necessarily represent the views of the Morning Night Live, but we encourage all voices. Yeah, GunFox ain't wrong though. Well, that would be a I'm not going to even use the word that he didn't use the word. Okay, good. Starting with an S, and that's never mind. I'm not even going to go there. So anyway, they're urging Joe Biden to take away some Iranian privileges. They want to put Iran. Well, not they. Well, Joe would put an Iran on a timeout. Also, no, this is what I wanted. Okay, just another news. The big story today in the Washington Post, because they love to talk about stupid shit that really doesn't matter, but especially if it even remotely looks bad for Republicans. And so anyway, apparently Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, also known as MTG, confronts Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, causing the New York Congresswoman to raise security concerns. They're going all in on MTG, but apparently she yelled at AOC down the hall, and everyone's all up in arms. So this is the big story on Twitter today, and if you really care, you can read it yourself, because I don't give a shit. I'm moving on, but here's something I give a shit about. Ellen DeGeneres is walking away from her talk show. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. In an exclusive interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Ellen DeGeneres announced that she would end her popular daytime talk show after the upcoming 19th season. The program has been a cash cow for the comedian. She makes more than $50 million each year from the show, Forbes estimates. Damn! Quick, somebody get me an agent. I could do a talk show. I'd be really, really good at it, I think. I'll do it for half that. Honestly, I could, do goofy dances and ask silly questions to celebrities and other interesting people. Come on, bring it. Come on, somebody. All right, any agents in the chat? Just let me know. Now, they want to make sure though that but she's faced controversy over the last year, primarily following a BuzzFeed report. Oh, good God. A BuzzFeed news report of the toxic work environment on the show. Former employees alleged racism and intimidation, which clashed with DeGeneres' squeaky clean image as the queen of kindness. A drop in ratings followed. The first 6 months of the current season saw ratings fall more than 40%, from an average of 2.6 million viewers last season to 1.5 million this season. Wow, damn, Damn. Yeah, AOC. Oh, yeah, man, I'm forgetting it's FTG Thursday. Yes. MTG, AOC, FTG. It all fits together nicely, doesn't it? All right, so anyway, so goodbye, Ellen DeGeneres. Good luck on your last season. You know, if she's making 50 super stacks a year, whew, I don't think necessarily it's why not retire, man? You're doing. I think you can live. I think you can live on that for a little while. 19 years, and she was at 50 million in her last years. Damn, she'd be all right. Just go retire, enjoy, travel, seize the world, except where they have pandemic restrictions. Anyway, before we move on, thank you, Drew, with the tray, who says my solution for Israel's problem. Have the U.S. stop paying Israel not to attack their aggressors. Once they have the autonomy to deal with their enemies as they see fit, they will end all hostilities in a month. Yeah, if you know the history of Israel, there's one thing that most of the people in the Middle East, and most of the other countries in particular, but don't mess with the Israeli army. I don't even think China would do well messing with the Israeli army. They just are serious about protecting themselves, and they don't give a shit. If you send a missile attacks from a school, they're going to end the school. If you send it from a hospital, from the top of the hospital, they're going to end the hospital because that's where the missile attacks come from. And then, obviously then the media is like, oh my God, the Israelis, they attacked a school. Well, yeah, they attacked a school with 50 rocket launchers on top of it. Thank you, Drew, so much for sponsoring the show. I appreciate you. Moving on. What else is in the news? Susan Rice is trending today. And it's because Richard Grenell, remember Richard Grenell, the first openly gay official to serve in a presidential administration, cabinet position level, whatever. Not Pete Buttigieg, it was Richard Grenell. And who did that? Who was that guy? Who was that? The funny hair guy? Yeah, rhymes with, Trump. Okay, yeah, Trump did that. Anyway, Susan Rice is trending because people are savaging Richard Grenell for saying that Susan Rice is the shadow president. And here's the article. Grenell calls Susan Rice the shadow president, and no one is paying attention. Richard Grenell, the former acting director of national intelligence under President Trump, said in an interview with CPAC that he believes Susan Rice has assumed the role of shadow president. Now, there's something just vaguely familiar with that, because she was a national security advisor under President Obama. Remember that? Oh, and it says that right there. And there were people who was saying that she was kind of the puppet master for that guy too. Hello, BG. So anyway, Rice, who served as national security advisor under President Obama, was tapped last December by President Biden to take charge of the White House Domestic Policy Council. It is in that role that Grenell believes she exerted her influence. Richard Grenell. Okay, here. Well, how much is this? Here. Let's listen to Richard Grenell for 1 minute and 47 seconds. I may stop it here and there too. Let's put it at full screen. I can't do that on this one, but anyway. Well, let's make it so you can see it. And here we go. Here's Richard Grenell.
Susan Rice has been appointed as domestic policy advisor. That's a joke. She doesn't know anything about domestic policy. However, what it indicates is that we are going to run our international policy, of which Susan Rice is an expert. She was at the UN. She was national security advisor. She was rumored to be Secretary of State, but she didn't have the votes, the Senate confirmation votes enough to get there. So she's a foreign policy expert that's been placed in the domestic policy role. And that is just a clear signal that all of our international issues, our foreign policies, are going to be treated like domestic policy. And what
Now, real quick, I'm gonna stop there. So when never mind. I was trying to say how I could say this without, anyway.
this means is when you read Ilhan Omar's tweet, this is a problem for the Democratic Party. The foreign policy mess that they are creating is a mess because they are placating the far left domestically.
Yep.
Part of that cancel culture identity.
No, I want to stop. I don't want to hear the words cancel culture anymore. But the problem is they're placating the left. It absolutely. You watch the way they're handling even this Israeli-Palestinian conflict right now. The far left hates Israel and are rooting for the Palestinians. Okay, now, and I don't care which side people are on this, but it's just that's the facts. And so, I unfortunately I have family members who are, always talking about the oppression of the Palestinians. Now, I gotta say, I understand the concern, but the problem is the Palestinians do not believe the Israelis have a right to exist, period, let alone control any land in that region. Whereas the Israelis certainly think the Palestinians should be allowed to exist and actually have given them land. And there's the encroachment thing, the way that settlements are built and all that stuff, all that problem. But they don't wish. One side is willing to coexist, and the other side wants their opponents to be driven off into the sea. There's a disconnect as to what the problem is here for many of these people on the left. So anyway, but yeah, Biden's so weak, though, that Susan Rice probably is the one who's calling the shots. She's that advisor that just happens to be the one that everything that comes out of the White House she agrees with because she's the one orchestrating it. But I can't say that out loud because I'll get criticized on Twitter, and then that will be the end of the world. All right. Thank you, Gunfox61 with another deuce. Thank you for your continued sponsorship of the show. Who says, I know a lot of military guys that messed with IDF girls a lot and all night long. The girls there love to mess with U.S. guys. They are very good at it. Too much information. Okay, stop it, Marty. That's terrible of you. By the way, I do have my cup of reparations coffee. Did y'all notice I had my cup of reparations coffee? And today it's the fueled by gangster rap and coffee. Because yes, well, it's been a while since I actually enjoyed listening to gangster rap. I wasn't that big into it at all. I enjoy myself some rap music. I kind of like the old school stuff. KRS-One, Dougie Fresh. I don't know. I could go on and on. Tribe or not Quest. Now, X-Clan. if you know who X-Clan is, you're an 80s kid that watched a lot of MTV because the red, the black, and the green. Anyway, all right, let's move on. PJ Media has quite a few. PJ Media is on fire this week, just about everything. So let's do a couple PJ Media articles. Hang a song. Oh, Scarface too. Yeah, Scarface was something else. Anyway, the Biden regime. And this is where my theme of the show came from today, because the response to all these crises by the Biden administration just has me scratching my head. And when they say, well, I'll talk about the comparisons to Jimmy Carter because I have a quote about that. Anyway, The Biden regime's response, that's the title of the article. I don't read that because it's probably in the first sentence. The state of play on this day, the 12th of May, in the year of our Lord 2021, is as follows. War is brewing in the Middle East after 4 years of peace and historic deals between Israel and several of its Arab neighbors. The UN responded the way the UN tends to respond, caroning a 1,000-year-old war, which wasn't even a war a few months ago. And then here's some knucklehead from the UN who says, "Stop the fire immediately. We're escalating towards a full-scale war. Leaders on all sides have to take responsibility of de-escalation. The cost of war in Gaza is devastating. It's being paid by ordinary people." That's true. UN working with all sides to restore calm. Stop the violence now. Which NBA player took the first punch in this one? Biden has emboldened Iran by practically begging them to take a deal. Yeah, they want to go to another Iran deal on their weapons because, just give them a couple $1 billion. They'll stop. Sort of. The details don't matter. This projected weakness, when you project weakness, you get tested. And boy, are we getting tested right now. Iran controls Hamas. Hamas is launching rockets at Israel. The resulting casualties are meant to test Joe Biden. And he's also being tested on the home front. The Colonial Pipeline hack is wreaking havoc on the East Coast. Okay, it just tells you about the price of gas, obviously. America was energy independent a few short months ago. We were inking deals to export natural gas to Saudi Arabia. Now we have price spikes, shortages, and gas lines. How long will it be before we have to buy gas from Putin? Biden's got to be Putin's best friend right now because he's just, yeah. Anyway, even Jimmy Carter is like, whoa, I had no idea it would get this bad this fast. He also is probably smiling since Biden is making him look Reagan-esque. Seriously, here's Jen Psaki. We are monitoring supply shortages and evaluating every action we can take. This includes starting the work needed to consider a temporary waiver of the Jones Act. More from the Department of Education, the Jones Act. They're just trying to make it easier to move fuel by truck and train, even though pipelines that already exist are the most efficient. Anyway, starting the work to temporarily a temporary waiver. Seriously, the work needed to consider a temporary waiver. What a joke, right? Breaking, the Biden administration has announced an exploratory committee to pick members of a blue ribbon commission that will develop Jones Act proposals that Congress may consider to direct the Department of Transportation to address the urgent gas supply shortage. It's like a Monty Python sketch. That's Scott Lincomb making fun of them. Biden's plan is to appoint a committee to look at appointing committee, which will get around to. Oh no, Scott Lincomb. That's that. He's. Oh God, that's not. Oh, that is not fake. Anyway, so Biden's plan is to appoint a committee to look at appointing a committee, which will get around to emailing another about the proposed agenda for the meeting to take place sometime after Labor Day. Meanwhile, people who are working can't get to work as panic gas buying sweeps across the whole states. Right now, Joe Biden has even less of a plan than the Cyclone had in Battlestar in the Battlestar Galactica reboot, and they had no plan at all. Here it is, just in. U.S. Fed Vice Chairman Richard Clarida. We were surprised by higher than expected inflation data. This comes after the surprisingly low jobs report. All right, let's do it. Yes, that's if feckless were a landmass, Biden's brain would be a mountain. And his problem isn't mere weakness. He's stupid. Another on fire article by Brian Peston at PJ Media. Joe Biden called a lid at 3:34 p.m. on Tuesday. A lid, when he goes and takes a nap for the rest of the day and then mommy feeds him pudding at 7 o'clock and then he goes back to bed. Israel was contending with barrages of rockets launched at its civilians by terrorist group Hamas, which is backed by terrorist regime Iran. Americans are suffering through gas lines thanks to a devastating hack of the Colonial Pipeline, one of the most important fuel pipelines in the country. 3 states, Florida, North Carolina, and Virginia, have declared states of emergency due to the fuel crisis the pipeline hack has caused. Joe Biden shut down construction of the Keystone Pipeline on his first day in office, which was but one of many of his stupid acts. The border's a mess, the economy's in shambles, inflation is here, violent crime is getting out of control in many of our nation's cities, while demoralized police officers leave their jobs in droves. But Joe Biden needed a nap. When he calls lids and heads for the couch, we know who's pulling the strings behind the scenes. Susan Rice. And perhaps it's better that Biden tucked himself. Perhaps it's better that Biden tucked himself in anyway. Even on his best days, which are long past, Joe Biden has always been a clod. Yeah. So let's go back to the days just after 9/11. America's reeling from the worst attack on our soil since Pearl Harbor. Thousands of us were dead. There was still a smoking rubble pile in the heart of Manhattan. Joe Biden's big idea in all of this: take a pile of other people's money and hand it to the totalitarian mad mullahs who rule Iran. Here's the flashback. And this is from, I'll even open that article. It's a Politico article from, what was the date on this? Oh, this is from a few days ago. But anyway, the Politico article, I'll link that in the tabs too, or in the description. From Politico. In the weeks immediately after the September 11 attacks, Biden, known for a lack of verbal discipline, right, suggested to aides in comments captured by the New Republic that maybe America should make a grand gesture of sorts to a region often suspicious of its motives. Quote, "Seems to me like this would be a good time to send, no strings attached, a check for $200 million to Iran." End quote, Biden is saying. The offhand suggestion did not go over well with his staffers, one of whom responded, "I think they'd send it back. Or just build another missile." The staffers were overly optimistic. Iran would have sent the $200 million back, of course, but not as money. That money borrowed from China would have come back in the form of missiles lobbed at Israel and bombings against American interests elsewhere. When we went to war, as was inevitable after 9/11, that money would have been used on the battlefields against American troops. Yeah, he's just not bright, I gotta tell you. Thank you, Drew, with another tray, who says, depending on the amount of housing arm loans and gas spike inflation hike, we may be ready to see another housing crash. Oh, it's interesting because housing's super, super strong right now. I think, well, especially boomers downsizing, because there's a record amount of boomers in that age category. I am the last of the boomers, and me and Lady Boomer are thinking about downsizing. Okay, that's a problem, and plus the fact that there's only half as many home builders building spec homes this year as there were before the pandemic, and because people are moving out of cities where they get assaulted and can't get to work because the roadways are blocked by protesters and things are burning and shit. So anyway, yeah, housing's really crazy right now. Like I said, and that's part of the inflation. If you count into the that you count into the inflation numbers, right? Because I've been watching. We just refinanced our house. In fact, we signed yesterday because we had a home improvement loan that we just wanted all one bill. Well, I was watching how the market, because now you can do that online really easily, and literally over the last 4 months, 30,000, the value of our house has gone up, because it's just, we're in a third ring suburb where people are going, hey, I can get out of Minneapolis and live there, and they're coming like crazy. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. This is, and then, oh, that's the Political article. And then the third PJ Media article, I said they're on fire, but shades of Israeli-Palestinian war of 2014 as violence escalates. I should have had this earlier. This is kind of just a news item. Let's see. I got that. Okay. It's a familiar script being played out with many of the same actors who had leading roles in the 2014 war between Israel and Palestinian terrorists. There's the dour-faced protagonist, Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas, still inciting his people to resist Israel's occupation, quote-unquote, of Gaza. I don't understand that. I thought occupation of Gaza, I mean, they're not in Gaza. They're around Gaza, keeping people from coming in and blowing people up and shit, but they're not in Gaza. Anyway, occupation of Gaza, dutifully, his subjects have stuck to the script, rioting in Gaza against Israeli trying to protect itself from the worst barrage of rockets to rain down on solely civilian targets, perhaps in its history. Yeah, they always go after civilian targets. Which, you know, okay, this may sound crass. If this were a legitimate war, it's hard to, it's hard to differentiate between civilian and, military targets, because military targets have to move through places and shit. But anyway, that doesn't excuse anything that's happening here whatsoever. So the hero of this drama. What? The hero of this drama, although not very heroic, is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has responded to the unprovoked rocket attacks with airstrikes by Israeli Air Force. Netanyahu doesn't care that he has an image problem in the West. People of Israel like him just fine and continue to place their trust in his leadership. Since no one else in Israel wants to form a government, Netanyahu will probably cobble together another coalition in what is rapidly turning into an emergency. Every few years, the Palestinians try to start a war with Israel to gain sympathy and opportunity for some top-flight propaganda. Thank you. They will store rockets in schools, daring Israel to attack them. Their population is the most important extras in this drama, as they willingly act as a human shield for Palestinian fighters. The more dead Palestinians and the Palestinian Authority can point to, the more points they can score with the anti-Semites at the UN. That's how it goes. Anyway, you get the point. You can read the rest of the article on your own. I'm going to keep going here because I'm running out of time and I want to get to these last few articles. Speaking of Gretchen Whitler, I keep saying your name wrong. I don't know why that happens. It just comes out that way. I can't help it. Close it off my screen. So, remember when she went down took her vacation in Florida? Well, she's very mad. Oh, there's that unfortunate picture again. Why do they keep using this? She looks like she just finished. Oh my God. I almost said it looks like she just finished work at a glory hole. Anyway, oh shit, I said it out loud. I didn't mean to. Democratic Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitler defended her March trip to Florida Wednesday, saying, that it was a necessary trip to take care of her father, who she said was ill. I don't recall her making exceptions for the people that she said couldn't travel because, you might have an ill parent. Aren't there people in Florida who could take care of your ill father? I thought they had doctors and hospitals down there. And Florida's pretty open to, because they don't restrict a lot of things. So I'm sure people could get there to help your father. But, the governor said that no tax dollars were used to pay for the trip. Yeah, because she commandeered some some private jet, right? Anyway, emphasizing that it's neither a vacation nor a gift, and that she merely traveled to Florida to care for her father, according to local outlet ABC 12. She also said that she continued her governor's business throughout the trip. Oh, Hercules, way to go, Gretchen. Oh, you continued to work while you were off in Florida. The nice warm weather. But yes, I'm sure you used an internet connection and your phone, and you did all things just to keep in touch, right? I'm sure you did. Anyway, Whitmer sparked a backlash in April when it was reported that she had traveled to Florida in March to visit her father. Shortly after her trip, she appeared on Meet the Press, who I'm sure used the tongue function to clean her taint, because they do that for Democrats, and urged people. Oh, and on Meet the Press, though, she urged people to take this seriously and mask up and get tested, and to specifically avoid traveling for spring break in Florida. As she traveled to spring break in Florida, woohoo! Beer stands. Anyway. The governor highlighted her responsibility to her father Wednesday. Oh, telling reporters, this is a part of my story. And so for anyone to be surprised that I had a family member who's been having a lot of health issues, that I showed up to check in, I don't think they're obviously not paying attention to who I am and what I do. Oh, they're paying attention, all right. Hypocrite. Hello, King on Common Law. Nice to see you. Anyway, this is so dumb. If she had just not gone all authoritarian, she would need to defend taking a vacation. She did this to herself. Right. All right, let's go. We got a couple more, and then I got to get the hell out of Dodge. Let's see. Oh, so did you hear that Joe Biden has chosen former Chicago mayor, former Clinton chief of staff, and smarmy prick Rahm Emanuel for the ambassador to Japan, but unfortunately Rahm Emanuel has a history of using racist Asian stereotypes. Oh, well. I was not aware of that. Let's take a look. President Joe Biden plans to nominate Rahm Emanuel, the scandal-plagued former Chicago mayor who attempted to cover up a racially charged police shooting in 2014. That's a mouthful. Yeah. Ooh, not good. What a way to start an article about Rahm Emanuel as U.S. ambassador to Japan. If journalists cared about Democratic politicians being racist, see Northam Ralph, this would be a controversial choice given Emanuel's history of using racist, anti-Asian stereotypes. Yeah, you know, there's a surge in Asian hate crimes. What are we putting this jackbot in as an ambassador to an Asian community? Then Mayor Emanuel dabbled in some ugly racist tropes during a 2019 event hosted by the Chicago Council on Global Affairs after being introduced by an Asian American student. Emanuel patted the female student on the buttock before invoking regressive stereotypes about the Asian community. He touched her ass, is what that means. He said... He asked her, or I just asked her if she was up for adoption. What an asshole. Oh my gosh, I'm almost teared up here. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I wasn't feeling good last night, man. I had some issues, but now this is funny. Emanuel told the audience, perpetuating the racist mindset experts have described as the white savior industrial complex. The mayor proceeded to collectively address the Asian members of the audience in an insensitive display of Asian stereotyping. So let's just listen to this shit. You're quiet, right? Andrew Yang's not. You do a lot of studying, so we don't have to worry about it, Emmanuel said problematically. The mayor was invoking the harmful model minority myth of Asians as silent nerds, a stereotype that erases the struggles of everyday Asian Americans and undermines racial inclusivity by separating Asian Americans from other communities of color that are, by racist implication, less quiet and less intelligent. Damn, who wrote this for the Washington Beacon? Andrew Stiles, he's using language. Andrew Stiles, he's using the language that they, you know who they are, use. And I'm not talking this. Look, I'm a melanin gifted human. I'm not talking about that they. I'm talking about they, the wokeathons. By the way, FTG Rahm Emanuel, he's an asshole anyway. Biden's decision to nominate Emanuel comes amid a surge of anti-Asian hate crimes in Democratic-led cities such as New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Biden is also under fire for his continued refusal to address the rise in anti-Semitic hate crimes amid the ongoing violence in Israel. Oh, yes, I did see that, Canada Hotep. You see the Ohio governor's offering a $1 million to one lucky person who gets the Fauci juice, the C-stab, that. So now everyone's going to play lottery, hoping they win $1 million by playing a lottery for taking the stab. I hope if you caught what I meant there. Moving on, a new poll, CNN poll, for that matter, finds a majority of Americans think voter ID laws make elections more fair. I still haven't come across, well, I have, but anyway, the findings are at odds with mainstream media and Democratic Party peddled narratives that the laws are racist. Oh.
That's racist!
The poll conducted by SSR. Okay, you know what? That's all you need to know about this article. It's just telling you the poll and what happened and yada yada. But anyway, we already knew that because most people have IDs. In fact, finding a person who doesn't have an ID is probably more rare than, I don't know. I wasn't going to say it. I'm not going to use the analogy I was going to use because it's very inappropriate. Not even under my breath in the microphone. Nope, ain't doing it. It was not good. Okay, last couple articles here. Trump comparison of Biden to Carter are unfair. Here's the quote. Because Donald Trump is a savage. Comparisons of Biden and Carter are unfair to Carter. Former President Donald Trump said comparing former President Jimmy Carter's presidency to the Biden administration is unfair. I see that everybody is comparing Joe Biden to Jimmy Carter. It would seem to me that it's very unfair to Jimmy Carter. Jimmy mishandled crisis after crisis, but Biden has created crisis after crisis. Oh, damn! Shots fired. Trump wrote in a statement Wednesday. I'll just let you read the rest of this yourself, but hey, truth hurts. Moving on. And Andrew Yang is in trouble, or not in trouble, but he has surrendered because he had a pro-Israeli tweet, and apparently some of the leftists that support him don't like that. New York City mayoral candidate and former Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang backtracked Wednesday after he tweeted earlier in the week to support Israel as it continues to be bombarded by rockets fired by Palestinian terrorists. Okay, it's a editorially kind of influenced paragraph, but as Breitbart News reported earlier this week, Yang took a traditionally pro-Israel and anti-terror view as the aspirant mayor of a city with a large, deeply rooted Jewish community and direct, painful experience with radical Islamic terror attacks. Here's his tweet. I'm standing with the people of Israel who are coming under bombardment attacks and condemn the Hamas terrorists. The people of New York City will always stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel who face down terrorism and persevere. Not so fast, Andrew. progressive Democrats attacked Yang, calling him white supremacist. Yes! White supremacist. And urging New Yorkers to oppose him. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez even encouraged Muslims not to host him at communal religious celebrations. On Wednesday, in the face of criticism from anti-Israel and pro-Palestinian activists in his own party, Yang backed down. Here's the back down. And they felt it failed to acknowledge the pain and suffering on both sides. They were, of course, correct. I mourn for every Palestinian life taken before its time, as I do for every Israeli. Suffering and pain and violence and death suffered by anyone hurts us all. All people want to be able to live in peace. We all want that for ourselves and our children. Support of a people does not make one blind to the pain and sufferings of others. Again, most everyone simply wants to be able to live in peace and pray in peace. And that's what we all want as well. I join with millions around the world praying that the current situation be resolved as quickly as possible, peacefully and with minimal suffering. And for those who have spoken to me on this, thank you. Continue to believe in humanity. Aww. Aww. Whatever. Two more to go. Finally, the feds are trying to use George Floyd's death to end local policing. Yeah, there's, this is kind of a theory that, they want to have federal police forces instead of local police. And I'm skeptical of the theory, but however, last month, when Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of second and third degree murder, most Americans believed his sentencing would end a year-long national ordeal. Footage of Chauvin's restraining George Floyd as he died, widely publicized last summer, with a predictable and memorable result. Although Chauvin was convicted by a jury, that decision was preempted by the constant menace of burning cities, gruesome threats of violence, massive corporate media marketing campaigns, public statements by members of Congress, and the president, and in at least one case, the jurors' political activism. Let's not be naive. Chauvin's conviction did not end anything. The monetary and emotional investment that followed Floyd's death can only signify the beginning of a crusade that will always need new scapegoats for its ongoing show trial. You mean the professional grievance grifters are going to be making money and throwing money? Right. Anyway, the anti-racism movement's never-ending quest to remake society, or at least get rich by pretending to do so. Oh! Sean King, Patrice Cullors, and others. And Al Sharpton is like, how, so for a long time, I'm going to stop this article because you get the idea. You can read it yourself. For a long time, Al Sharpton kind of faded away, kind of. But then all of a sudden lately, he's doing eulogies at people's funerals and shit. I guess he's still doing that back with, who was it? Mike Brown, but I'm just like, now all of a sudden he is again front and center. And I think he might need some money. It's because he ain't helping nobody. He just getting his face out there. But yeah, the announcement. So it was revealed that federal officers had secret plans to arrest Chauvin in court for those civil crimes. The Fed is, with these guys, are piling on. I don't even know how this is. And now Merrick Garland's investigating police departments in cities. Is it a precursor to trying to make police forces federal? I don't know. You can read the article. It's interesting, but I don't have time now. I'm running out of time. Thank you, Drew, with another tray via Streamlabs. I appreciate that. And who says, to the left, attacking Palestine is Islamophobic, even when there are 20 plus Islamic countries in the world. Attacking the only Jewish nation doesn't mean they are anti-Semitic, though. These people are garbage. That's a good point. I do agree with you there. That's, Israeli Arabs or the Palestinians or whatever you want to describe. Well, no, there are Arab Israelis. It's, you know, there's Arab Israelis in the parliament in Israel, but and then Palestine wants to push that whole all those people to sea. But yeah, you know, it's like what Drew said. I'll leave it at that. All right, finally, The Rock has come back to Minneapolis. No, now this is just. Let's finish up with this one. This is because I try to finish up with a little humor or something light to end the day. And this might be one of the funniest things I've seen yesterday. But it was supposed to be serious. And that's why I'm it makes it even funnier. So there's a bunch of people running for mayor of New York City, right? And two of the mayoral candidates, in fact, they were talking about housing. And let me just read it. Sean Donovan and Raymond J. McGuire, candidates for mayor of New York, were way off when asked to estimate the median home price in Brooklyn. Do you know the median sales price for a home in Brooklyn? The question, which was recently posed to 8 mayoral candidates by the New York Times editorial board, wasn't a trick. Brooklyn is a notoriously expensive borough for one of America's most expensive cities, and New York City's housing crisis promises to be a major issue in the coming years. Well, move out. Move somewhere where there's not a housing crisis. Anyway, yet the range of responses given by 2 of the candidates, off by roughly an order of magnitude, has touched off incredulity among New Yorkers. It's Brooklyn, huh? I don't know for sure. Sean Donovan, who has touted his expertise as housing secretary under President Barack Obama and housing commissioner under Mayor Michael Bloomberg. I got to repeat that. Former housing secretary under President Barack Obama and housing commissioner under Mayor Michael Bloomberg. I would guess it's around the 100,000. The guess from Raymond McGuire, an investment banker and former executive at Citigroup, who has sought to woo voters with his financial acumen, included similar numbers. It's got to be somewhere in the 80 to 90,000 range, if not higher, he said. Eric Adams, the Brooklyn borough president, said he believed the number was about 550,000. Maya Wiley, former councilor to Mayor Bill de Blasio, guessed 1.8 million. Only Andrew Yang, who has been criticized in the past for seeming out of touch with the city's issue, guessed it correctly. $900,000. The median price for a home in Brooklyn, $900,000. Someone else guessed 800,000, 500,000. Okay, and someone said $1 million. So those, at least they're in the ballpark. But Donovan and McGuire are not considered among the leading candidates in the race. It was their answers that drew the most attention. Wait, let me say this again. The former housing secretary under President Barack Obama. That explains a whole lot of things. That explains a lot. Oh my gosh. All right. Just a reminder. So in the links today, in the one tab link below, all these articles and things I read today will be there. Also, check out Hannah Hotep's video the Fauci Wuhan connection on Rumble, which I have a link to that in the tab also. Ladies and gentlemen, before you do anything else, and before I do anything else, I have a request. If you have not hit the like button, please, at this time, before you click anything else, click the like button, and please share the stream. Whether it's the beginning of the stream or the end of the stream, it helps when you share the stream. Also, if you would be so kind, if you in the future or even while we're not on the air, you can be a sponsor of the show through YouTube SuperChats, Streamlabs SuperChats, and Venmo and Cashapp. All that information is in the description below. Streamlabs works 24 hours a day, as do the others. And if you do a message off stream, I'll talk about it when we get back on the stream. So there you go. Y'all, everybody, thank you. Oh, you've been lurking. Well, hi, Check Your Logic. Also, Tom O'Clay. Who did I miss? I missed a whole bunch of people. Mr. Yes is here. Let's see. Texas AG. Now I know it's Texas AG. Somnambule Nation. And also, thanks for our sponsors today. Gunfox61, who was the Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day. And also, Drew. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for me to vacate this screen. So, you all have a fantastic day. Now, tomorrow's show is iffy right now. We have a little court date tomorrow, and the show may not happen, but I'll figure out some way to make up for it either tomorrow later or over the weekend. We'll see what happens. So if you don't see the stream, that's why. Anyway, y'all have a great day. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. I already hit it. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.